From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, shop at the SOR Vault, join the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month, read up on the Newswire, and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities, helping make the world 10% happier by donating to Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Sierra Neblina got the attention of the United States military and found herself in a super soldier program, starting at the ripe young age of 5. Sierra was saved from this program by her mother, who was a transient, but was later tracked down by the military by an implant and was coerced into joining the military at 19. Later on, while in the reserve, Sierra had her first ET experience. Later in her life, she would learn that her parents consented to the human hybrid ET experimentation program. She plunged into a deep investigation of military cover-ups and ET contact along with human abductions. This caught the attention of the military, resulting in a chilling trip into NORAD and serious threats of harm to her family if she continued her search. Later in life, Sierra would come out to find out that her father is a high-level commander in the secret space program and was present during her trip to NORAD. It's going to be exciting. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR News Wire. So, Sierra Neblina, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. You know, when you were on with Geraldine Orozco back in October, and I started hearing your story, I immediately messaged you afterwards and said, I got to get you on. I need more. I need more. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this tonight.
Oh, thank you so much, Dave, for having me back on. It is always a pleasure to be on with you.
Well, I enjoy having this subject because this is a subject that is really, really going to push the limits of a lot of people here tonight, Sierra. And, you know, I guess you're used to that. You're used to people questioning this. You're used to people thinking that this isn't all that it's cracked up to be, that you watched a lot of sci-fi movies and have really, really perfected your story.
Yeah, you know, I've really come across that. Not so much people saying it to my face, but online I've really been the subject of a lot of ridicule. And I have an agreement to share my story, you know, just be as real and as honest as I can and try and do my best to help folks with that information or empower them, inform them, prepare. Really, I think it comes down to preparation ultimately.
Well, I appreciate that. Let's learn a little bit about you, Sierra, because this is new to a lot of people, this whole Super Soldier secret space program. A lot of people don't know it's going on. It has its detractors by people saying, where would they hide this? Where would they do this? We would know about it. Politicians would know about it. The media would cover it up. This started for you at the age of 5. Take us back to when this happened.
Sure, and I can totally get it. You know, it's something to really, it's hard to grasp, but we'll go a little bit further into that about how, you know, where they hid it and so on, and how they're getting away with it right now. And it has something to do with their $3 trillion, I don't know, has a lot to do with the money that and black budget spending and so on. But I was 5, and my mother, actually I'll take you, rewind just a tiny bit, to when I was conceived. My mother was in Orlando, and she lived very near McCoy Air Force Base, and she was hanging out at a cafe, a restaurant there, near where the base, and it's called the Ranch Cafe, and a lot of the officers and so on would go and hang out there, and she was there with some of her friends, and she was 16, and she was approached by a she's very tall, lovely-looking woman, looking probably older than what she is, but I think that she was specifically chosen. So she was approached by this officer, and they started talking and then dating, and she became pregnant. And pretty quickly, actually, not very long after they were hanging out. And she wanted to let him know that she was pregnant and really excited, kind of looking forward to sort of like the officer and the, gentleman type of a fairy tale ending type of a thing. Was very excited about, she was very much like this guy, was very attracted to him. And she went to where he lived off a base, and he wasn't there. The roommate said that he had been transferred. She's like, what are you talking about? I saw him yesterday. I was just here last night. I don't get it. And so she probably told him that she had a doctor's appointment or whatever, that she couldn't meet during the day, but she would, talk to him later. And went to the base, and they kept saying, wait a minute, we don't have that name on our records. And so she said, will you please look up, and she remembered the name of one of the officers that was with him that night that they first met, because they would just hang out by themselves mostly. And the officer came to the gate looking a little perturbed that she called him over there, and he said, listen, he's been transferred. I can't tell you anything. It's top secret, nothing I can say. And sorry, turned around and walked away. Heartbroken, she was. Dated a few other people after she had me, and but ended up marrying a gentleman named Dana Farnsworth, who did several tours in Vietnam, and they ended up having my brother. But before that happened, or just around the time that happened, actually, new baby and everything like that, kind of a new family, and his father lived in Orlando, but more towards, so he didn't live in Orlando, he lived more towards Cape Canaveral area. And we went over there a lot, and I think that I ended up spending more time over there because of the newborn baby and everything like that, and the new grandparents and everything, so I was there. And felt comfortable with him and started to share with him, so I'm 5 years old at the time, about, I didn't, just getting to know each other, and he picked up on something that I did psychically, and he says, what do you mean? And I said, well, I can hear what you're thinking, silly. And so I said, can't you hear what I'm thinking? And he said, no. And so later on, some other time when I came back to the house, there were men there, and they sat down and they were talking to me, and I remember one being in uniform and the other in plain clothes, more like suits, but not black suits, just regular suits. And they sat down and they started showing me cards and asking me if I could see what was on the back of the card. And I tested through pretty strongly, and next thing I knew, I was being taken often underground. We'd go underground, and I'd ride one of those really fast trams, and I would go, be taken. At the beginning, it was just a lot of testing and I think they were trying to get a good scope of what my abilities were at the time, and then the training and the programming, and they were really interested in me specifically for remote viewing and telepathy, and a couple other things I think they were trying to see if I could do. But I remember being in that, in my mind's eye, only about a couple of months, and I had a total recall memory in 2013. So I thought, okay, I hung out with these guys. They tested me. They did some horrific stuff to me. Sometimes when I didn't feel like it, I didn't want to play anymore. I didn't want to play their games, or they were being too rough or something or I just didn't like it, I'd refuse. And they found that my particular thing, I didn't care if they threatened my family, but when they started hurting animals, then I said I would go ahead. I would do it. I would do what they would say if they just stopped hurting the animal. So I thought it just came in. I kind of came into that program and left out pretty quickly. I remember walking into the room, hearing shouting, where my mom's husband was there with the father, the one who got me into the program. And he said, I don't care what you do, you keep that woman in your life. We can't lose track of that child. Do you hear me? And there was like physical scuffing. So I came in there to figure out what was going on, and they were talking about me. I didn't realize that there was an issue in my mom and his relationship. As an adult, and later on, I found out that she was kind of going between two men and they were making each other crazy, and then we ended up leaving and kind of just went on the run for some time. After that, just real transitory, just moving around a lot. And so I thought that was the end of it. And in 2013 or 14, I believe it was 14. It was 14. When Corey Good just first came out with his story, and somebody sent me his very first radio interview that he ever did. I got about 18 minutes into that interview, and when he started, and I just was kind of half listening to it because I was living off-grid in Colorado at the time, kind of just half listening to what was going on, and he got to the part where he was being tested for the super soldier empathic intuitive part. And I'd listened to Captain Randy Kramer, Captain K, when he first came out. He was super soldier, but he was like the, really fast, really strong super soldier. So his testing and everything, it all sounded familiar, but not really hitting any real, chords with me. But listening to this interview, when it's like I got all of a sudden, I liken it to if you walk into a room and you're not looking up, but if you did look up, there was like all of these playing cards hanging by a string, covering the ceiling, okay? And I liken a memory to every single one of those playing cards. He said something that cut the line of all of those playing cards, and I had total recall of a bunch of stuff they had suppressed, and including a 20 and back thing I'm still trying to deal with. So it has been overwhelming, and I have been working my way through. In fact, I was almost done with my autobiography that I had been working on for several years, and when that happened, it threw me into such a tailspin, actually, that I stopped writing the book because it was so much and so overwhelming that I was going to have to go back and figure out how to write all of this in, that I basically put my autobiography down and kind of left it there until recently, picking it up again and going to sit down and start writing into the section that I need to with regard to that.
Interesting. So as you started to learn about your past and your experiences and what you had gone through, when did you start to realize that this just wasn't dreams or some fantasy that they were onto you? Was it at the time when you joined the military at age 19?
I've had quite a few weird things that have happened to me over my life, but I spent the first 9 years of my life in sort of a broken, kind of moving around home, just trying to survive, getting taken away and placed into foster care, and then several years in foster care, and then getting adopted at the late age of 13, and I just had so much going on in my life, it was just go, 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 go. And it didn't start really hitting me, all of this stuff, because it's something I really wanted to force down. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to think about being visited by the men in black my whole life. I didn't want to think about some of the experiences that I had as a younger person. I didn't want to think about that time in the MK Ultra program when I was 5. I didn't want to think about any of this stuff. So it was real easy to just shove it down. And it was 2007. I was suffering from the effects of the Desert Storm Syndrome, which came from vaccinations they gave us when we went over there. And I ended up stroking one day, just having a massive stroke until my heart stopped. And when I came to, I had an incredible near-death experience where I basically came to. I was stroking and stroking and stroking. I'd been taking that Yasmin pill for hormone replacement after having an emergency hysterectomy, and it was the thing causing the stroke. And I just stroked until my heart stopped. And they got me going again, but just in those moments, it was interesting. It was like I remember walking into the emergency room going, something's wrong. I'd already been stroking for like 4 hours, and then I collapsed. And I could hear all the rushing. I could hear them tending to me. I could hear the whole thing about clear, burp, and then everything just kind of faded to the background, and I was in a really bright room. And I was sitting at a table, which is an odd thing. And to my right, there was an angel. And to my left, there was this energy form. Basically, just a line of energy, sort of. I just knew it was a being. And the angel waited until I was fully present, I guess dead enough to speak to me. And he said, "Welcome. You have just passed away. Your mortal coil has died." And he let me get my bearings for a second. I did look around a little bit more. I said, "Okay." And he said, "So, you've sustained a lot of damage to your body. There's significant damage to your body. And so what we're going to do is send this being back in your place. We're going to send this in your place." And I said, "No. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no. No. Have you seen my life?" And it was like crazy. And then all of a sudden, like up in front of us, like this 3D hologram were just flashes of my life, right? Just flash, 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 flash. And I'm like, "You see the hell I've been through? No way you're taking me right when it's starting to get good." I was running a multi-million-dollar spec home building business. I was a kid from the streets. I came from nothing. I had $1 million home. I was doing very well. And this is in Colorado, up in Summit County, Vail, and Aspen area. I was the only woman builder in the area. Had just gotten my first parade of homes. I said, "No, absolutely not." And then there was a lot more conversation that happened. And another thing about them reminding me that remember why you came here. It wasn't about making millions of dollars. It wasn't about having the cars and the condos and the whole thing. They said, "Remember." And he touched me on my third eye, and I remembered who I was before I came down and what I said I was going to do. And then the next thing I knew, I fell back into my body. I woke up. And I woke up completely paralyzed on my left side. I had 28% of my brain damaged. I'd been bilaterally stroking, so the left and the right side of my brain had damage. I was completely left side paralysis, and it affected my cortex of verbal communication. So I thought very clearly, but when I tried to speak, it didn't come out properly. And so I started to heal. And I know this is a very long way around answering your question, but it took a lot to drive me to opening myself back up again to experiences that I've had in my life. It took a year for cognitive therapy, physical therapies to start walking again, to start talking properly again. I really dug in, and the acceleration of the healing went pretty quickly, pretty rapidly. And I also this is when I was first introduced to cannabis also for healing. And so that was also helping to accelerate my health and healing. I ended up going through heart surgery to close a hole in my heart, and went through all of that therapy. And then when I could locate myself in space and time, okay, meaning, when you think about where you are, you can kind of, from here to there, how to get back home. You don't necessarily have to pull it up on your maps. There's like an internal homing beacon that we have. Mine was really, really good. I accelerated at maps and the outdoors, and I was an extreme athlete, hiking the Grand Canyon all the time. And when I could locate myself in space and time again, realizing how to get from point A to point B, I also started to realize that I wasn't the only one in here. There was very separate thought processes going on than what mine were. I was constantly hearing somebody making observations about humanity and people and things, and I was just like, oh my God, what in the world is going on with me? Now what? And a bunch of high strangeness was starting to happen. I was living with my partner in Lakewood, Colorado. I moved down from Summit County for my healing. I couldn't be at high altitude anymore, and I had my mother and my grandmother were living with us in the downstairs area. And my mom came upstairs one day and said, what in the world were you guys doing last night? Did you have a party? Why were little kids running up and down the hallway? What are you talking about? Little kids running up and down. We went to sleep. Oh, no, you didn't. So just stuff happening constantly around the house, constant things happening, to the point where it drove me to the Paranormal Research Forum.
Right.
I just happened to show up on the day that Jack and John from J3 Films was at the meeting with Stan Romanek.
Right.
And I didn't know anything about anybody or nothing. And I had spoke to a couple other people that brought me there. I was participating in Landmark Education, and there was somebody at a center, and he came in, and somebody said, hey, UFO Joe, and I said, someday I should talk to you about that. And when things started getting crazy.
And Sierra, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to take a break here. Sierra Neblina is our guest tonight. We're talking Super Soldier Program, aliens, ET contact. We're running the gamut tonight on SOR. Stay tuned. The second half hour coming up.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. We live in a world of mystery and uncertainty, which you guys know better than anyone. Sometimes you just need to be brought back down to earth for a while. One of the best ways to stay grounded is to help out with your fellow earthlings. And there's no more rewarding way to do that than to give through Chive Charities. Unlike many organizations, we don't necessarily aim to save the world, cure disease, or change the course of history. Our goal is to make...
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a Space Traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have you with us. Really do appreciate that. Reminder to all of you, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free YouTube channel. That's where we play with our archives and store them there, because we don't want to charge for those. No, they're for everybody. YouTube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. Sign up for the SOR Space Travelers Club now. You can head over to We Read the Night. Pick yourself up a great book, or read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. It's all good stuff, so make sure you check it on out. Sierra Neblina is our guest tonight. We're talking super soldiers, ET contact, hybridization. She was recently involved in Extraordinary, The Seating, along with Geraldine Orozco. And you know Geraldine comes here every month to talk about the spiritual you. Sierra, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Very good to have you here. Now, right before the break, you were kind of telling your story about how you kind of got involved with everything leading up to this point in adulthood. Did you know what the Super Soldier program and the Secret Space program were?
Not at all. In fact, I didn't even start getting into that until 2012 and 13 when I had my own radio program. I started out with the Starseed Hotline back in 2009, 10, and 11. At the beginning of 2012, the 2012 scenario kind of headhunted me and said, come over here, and I came over there. For a year, had a radio program called Let's Talk 2012 and Beyond. Put a couple of conferences on in Sedona. That was great. And then in 2013, went out on my own and started Galactic U Radio Network and ended up with 5, 6, 7 radio hosts, all with different radio programs through Blog Talk Radio. So I had started to hear about the Super Soldier program. You know, I think it was, I don't know that the recent whistleblowers came out until 2012, 13, as far as the Super Soldier program that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm. Earlier in the half hour, you mentioned about people like Corey Goode. Okay, I've met Randy Kramer. I met him in Toronto. I've had him on this show a couple of times. Corey Goode has taken a lot of heat over his blue avian theory and the world, picture of the world and everything. Why do you believe these guys? Because from everything that has come out, that I have read, especially recently, they really have come out as almost fakers and charlatans to what the real story and what the real issues are.
Who are you talking about now? Sorry.
Corey Goode.
Oh, got you. I don't know about everything that he talks about because I don't pay Gaia TV or Gaia anything to hear his stuff. I do know that in the beginning when he first came out, he made himself available, and then Gaia TV kind of gobbled him up, and David Wilcock and a whole bunch of other stuff. And a friend of mine who runs Stillness in the Storm, who had his radio program on my radio, I said, please get to Corey and let him know that the Galactic Federation said that he was supposed to make this free and that he has an agreement he needs to follow. And he did get to him, and the thing that they gave into was they went ahead and had people still pay for it, but then they put transcripts of what he set out so that people could read it on other sites, like Stillness in the Storm and so on. I'm not saying that I subscribe to absolutely everything it is that he says. I can verify a couple of different things that I know are accurate, and I do believe that he was in the Super Soldier Intuitive Empath program. I don't have any reason to doubt that. He's just listening to 20 minutes of his interview helped trigger some things for me. They aren't responding to me. I did personally reach out to Corey, and I don't understand why he's not responding to me, so it brings a couple of things into question for me. But as far as the blue avian, I don't know what the whole paradigm or what they said is going to be happening, but I do know that the blue avians do exist. They are solar wardens. They have been brought in with a magnitude of other hierarchy of the galactic beings that have been involved in the evolution of people on this planet. They're all back. They're all watching. And so other than that, I don't really know much about what he talks about or what he says. Is there something very specifically that you have drawn? Maybe something you want to bring up, and I can either verify through my knowing in my.
Well, I think with Corey, he's such a controversial figure because it's become all about the money instead of the message that nobody's really buying into it anymore, and for a lot of people, it's become a scheme.
I understand. I get that, and it was my criticism of him in the very beginning, and so. I mean, I get it. Here's the thing. I now, with all of the health stuff that I've dealt with, and I've come under some pretty massive attacks. I'm not even going to beat around the bush about it in the last several years, last 2 to 3 years, 4 years, with my health and just constant being messed with, that to the point where I'm disabled, I don't have any income and stuff like that. And I understand a person's need to want to make a buck, but I work with people, and if they can't pay me, I take trade. I make myself available to anybody on the Internet that has questions or needs help. I don't understand a person who takes a mission and doesn't make themselves available. It's not mine to judge. It just doesn't fall into how I think it should be.
How do you think it should be?
I'm on the stage with you.
Because I look at Randy Kramer, Captain K, and there is a gentleman who I did get to meet a couple weeks ago in Toronto at Alien Cosmic Expo. Great guy. But everything is around money now. Like, to listen to him talk, it's all about money more than the message. Now, I have no problem with someone making a buck as long as they are being honest and truthful to the people they are trying to serve, because the one thing, Sierra, that we can agree on probably is that when it comes to this, people want to believe so bad that they are gullible. And when you have people who are willing to take advantage of those...
I fire up. I have long talked about this on the radio, and people know that I have a very powerful and strong stance that we're here to serve a mission. You are tapped. If you're tapped as a whistleblower, you're tapped, or you're conscious, or your agreement basically to come forward and provide a service for people. It's one thing to have a big conference and have everybody pay, and then you pay one price and you have access to everybody. That's how I feel like it should be. I feel like there needs to be more integrity. There needs to be more universal law applied to these people that are out there doing this. And, the thing that makes me crazy is on the Internet, there's I crossed somebody at 2012 Scenario, and he put me up on newagefraud.com, and I think he's like a really good computer person, and for some reason he just really took me on as some kind of nemesis or something, and one of the things they say in there is like, don't give this woman any money, blah, 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 and I'm like, oh my God, and it's like totally hurts my soul. Like, what are you talking about? I let people send me, and ask any amount of the hundreds, like the thousands of people that I've talked to over the last 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 years, and I'll just give them the shirt off my back, and I'm sitting here with nothing, and I'm not asking anybody for anything. That's how I feel like I'm sharing my story. I'm giving information. I'm preparing people. I'm doing what I said I was going to do, and the people who take advantage of that, I have very strong words for, and have been very vocal from the beginning towards that.
Sierra Neblina is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Sierra, talk to us about your relationship with the Secret Space Program.
Oh, so I have just wondered why. Why in the world? What about me? Why do I have people in black suits and four-door sedans following me around my whole life? Actually, they've upgraded now to like excursions. They're in big giant SUVs. It's no longer like the four-door little sedan-y type of thing. It's funny. I think it boils down to my father. And so in 2000 in the program, in the documentary, Extraordinary the Seeding, I go into, the story about in 1994, coming back after the war. I got out of the Army in Colorado Springs. I stayed in Colorado Springs. I was living with a girlfriend in an apartment complex, and I woke up one day, and there was a gray in my room. We're going to go the long way around about this one again. So I had this experience where I had this interaction with this gray one night, and I became pregnant. And at the end of, I went for 4.5 months of doing everything that I possibly could to try and hold on to the baby because I'd been informed about this hybridization program. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And so I took extreme measures to stay away from, for them not come get the child again. But one day I woke up about 4.5 months later after discovering I was pregnant, and the baby was gone. And it threw me into rage and anger and sadness, and I wanted to know what was happening, and I started just outright calling men in my unit and saying, what is this hybridization program? What is this thing with the military? Did or did they not make it a deal with, for technology? I just, at some point, just became so angry and blatantly decided I didn't care. I wanted answers that I just started making a ruckus. And I came over to my ex-girlfriend's house because through the whole thing, I think she thought I cheated on her. We broke up. And I came back to the apartment to get some things, and there were 2 men in black standing by a four-door sedan, and I was taken into NORAD. I was taken into NORAD for about 8 hours and shown technology and shown a whole bunch of different things. Would you like me to talk to you about this? Because this is where I saw my father.
We got about 8 minutes before we go to break here, so yeah, go for it. Run with it.
I'll start to talk about it, and then whenever it's time, just jump on in here, and we'll take a break and come back to it. So I got in this car, and I got out. I'd been calling and didn't seem like I was getting any kind of response at all from anybody. Now, anybody wasn't taking me seriously, and I was kind of just depressed at this point. And when I drove up to the spot at my girlfriend's place, and I got out of the car, I was like, it's about time that somebody, listened to me, heard me, blah, 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 and he just kind of motioned me to get in the seat behind the driver's side. And I'm kind of talking and, get in, shuts the door, they get in, they back up, and they start to drive. And as they're backing up, I said, so where are we going? And nobody said anything. And then I was like, whoa, I just got in the car. 2 people. They are not talking to me. So I started looking around. There's no handle in the back seat. There's no little unlocky thing. There's no way for me to get out of this vehicle. And so I said, are you going to answer my question or not? I made some sort of demands, and there was no response. And so I started to immediately think about how I was going to get out of there. And I thought I would take the seatbelt of the driver and choke him out and break out the back window. Didn't even get halfway through or finished that thought when I kind of came to staring forward full. Adrenaline had been going. I was like ready to, like, I had myself all pumped up to just be in a car crash and get out of this car. I came to, staring straight ahead, and there was no adrenaline in my body, which was extremely rare. It usually took me a long time to calm myself down if I'd get triggered, and I was still very easily triggerable. This is still just a couple of years after the war, suffering PTSD and so on. And so I was like, what just happened? And so I started looking around, and I noticed that, we were about, towards the Manitou Springs area, starting to head up this one highway called 24, towards the side and back side of Cheyenne Mountain where NORAD is. And I didn't know about any of that yet. I didn't know we were going yet, just that we were in that area. And then I thought to myself, what is going on? About 15, 20 minutes has gone by, and I don't have any recollection of it. Okay, so this is what I need to do. I need to figure what's going on. I need to telepathically tap into these people. I need to find out what's going on. So I start to focus in front of me, and I just stare to the back of the head of the guy in front of me driving. And all I could hear is, grass is green and the sky is blue. Over and over and over again. And I thought, that is the weirdest. Come to find out later on, that's a protection against telepaths. If you can't, so that they can't read your mind. So obviously it worked on me because I was just a beginner at that point. And so I thought, So I looked over at the passenger that was sitting there, and it was interesting is at that point, because I started to get a little bit closer view of him, and he had a hat on. It was pulled down close to his ears and sunglasses on, and I kind of started to lean over and look under the rim of the hat, and they weren't really ears. And I kind of like shook my head a little bit and rubbed my eyes. I'm like, wait a minute, what am I seeing? Okay, so I'm just going to see what I can see or hear. And I started to project my consciousness over towards him, and I was shocked. The only thing I could explain it as is if somebody zapped me really hard in my head, and I pulled back. I was like, ow, and I was like, what is going on here? And I started to get upset. Well, I came to again, and we are parked. Actually, we're driving up to an entrance of Cheyenne. Now, it's the backside. This is not an area that I recognize. We're another 20 minutes or so into our drive. And we drive into this one area, and then we get out, and we walk in to NORAD. And it was really interesting. The second time when I came to, I probably should have been a little bit more uptight, stressed, but it's almost, I had this feeling a little bit like I had Valium, like some sort of muscle relaxer or something like. I've never had Valium. I have no idea what that feels like. It's like some sort of muscle relaxer or something like that, where I'm just kind of relaxed and just sort of like going along with what was happening. Get out of the car, and they flank me on either side, and we just walk forward, and we proceed to walk into Cheyenne. It's just this incredible experience. How much time do we have?
We got about, I'm going to say 2.5, 3 minutes.
Okay. So I'm really trained, and I'm also very good at, like, a very visual person, and have a sort of like a memory for things visually. And as we were walking in, there were these hallways, and it was like this poured concrete and archways and conduit running down everything, and these fluorescent lights. And we walked for some time, went through several different security checks, and started to go further away, from, the hustle and bustle, what might probably be just the normal goings-on of NORAD. And then we ended up getting in an elevator, and we start to go down. And I'm observing everything. I'm counting steps, so how far we're going in, how many feet it is in here, what turn we take over here, and I'm mapping the entire thing in my mind. And I start counting floors. and I'm counting, and I'm counting, and I'm counting, and I'm like, oh, my God. Either this is the slowest elevator, but it didn't feel like it. It really felt like it was actually going a little bit faster. And I counted down some 14 to 28, like the first time we got off. We got off at like 14 floors below where we entered.
Below?
Yeah. Down. All said and done, like I have this map in my mind. I could almost like pull it out like 3D of that trip that day. We went down 14 stories at least, or floors the first time. We went down another 16 the second time, walked to another area, came up a few floors, went back to another area. I mean, it's extensive. I was blown away with the multitude of different levels in this place.
Intriguing. Very intriguing. So with this place, and you were at Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, which is NORAD headquarters, how did you know you were there?
Because I know Colorado Springs very well. I mean, we drove. I've done a lot of wilderness training. I've done a lot of hiking. I led classes. I am a riverboat captain, and so where we were driving and the highways and the roads that we were on, there was no other place we could be but in that mountain.
No windows, no sunlight, no anything coming through.
No. It did have a Cheyenne Mountain thing over where we drove in at.
Well, that would do it. That would pretty much do it. I could see that happening. We only got about 30 seconds here. Now, when you were there, did they do any physical tests on you? Did they, or was it just an interrogation, so to speak?
Well, I lost about 3 hours. I believe that they did some physical stuff to me. I think that this other Image in Black was an extremely powerful empath, so much as to that could control, my mind, my body, my adrenaline, kept me sedated when I needed to be, kept me going along when I needed to.
Right. Sierra, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to step out for break at the top of the hour. Sierra Neblina is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Secret Space Program, Super Soldiers, ETs, ET Contact, My Labs. We're running the gamut tonight. And we got her for another 90 minutes. Yeah, we're having a good one. Stay tuned for hour 2. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
John Resig here, founder of Chive Charities. And just like you, we have a penchant for the uncommon, the overlooked and off the cuff. Chive Charities operates a bit differently than most organizations. We listen to our recipients to find out exactly what they need, and then we give it to them. We provide people with rare medical conditions, veterans, and first responders with grant items that will make a direct impact on that person's life. We don't just forget about our recipients when the van or the wheelchair has been delivered. Our recipients are part of our Chive Charities family for life. By becoming a donor with us, you could be a part of that family too. And our listeners of Spaced Out Radio know that thinking differently can be a very good thing. To get to know some of our recipients and to support Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and start making a real difference today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. I want to say hello to everyone listening in on KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Glad to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Academastasia. Yeah, I butchered that one. Academastasia is your password. Thesia. Academathesia. That's what I was trying to say. The Clam sets a password each and every night right here on the Mighty SOR. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Right now, you can sign up for the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Go shopping. Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. We got some great swag there for you. Read up on the We Read the Night section. And, of course, Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. We have Sierra Neblina with us tonight. She is part of the hybridization program. She is an ET contactee, abductee. She's been in my labs, MK Ultra, been part of the military in the United States. She has run the gamut of everything weird and strange that we love about this show. And learning the firsthand experience is second to none here tonight. Sierra, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
Right before the break, we were talking about the secret space program and how you were taken into NORAD. When did you start learning about the secret space program being real?
Well, even after this experience that I had in NORAD, I didn't really know about it being real until 2012, 2013, when those whistleblowers started coming out. And more and more and more things have been coming up, more and more documentaries, more and more people getting together, talking. There's more evidence coming forward after the release of all the classified documents through the U.S. government. And a lot of people coming forward saying, hey, listen, we got a whole other, people like Dr. Michael Sala or Dr. Richard Dolan talking about the Breakaway societies, and he first, I believe, came out with that book in 2012. We really, I, as a collective in the ufology community, has started to really turn to that. More and more evidence is coming out, and more people are starting to talk, including people in the secret space program and so on. So it's not just coming from people like myself or Corey Good or Captain Randy Kramer. It's enlisted, people, personnel, other people coming forward saying that they saw certain things, and people in the secret space program themselves. In 2012, I mentioned that I was putting on those conferences, and I was working, and I'm often in a women's group, women getting together, sharing knowledge, wisdom, trainings, different types of trainings, and so on. And, excuse me. And in 2012, I was working with a woman in a group that I was running. It was a drumming group that I put together, and we were doing a little bit of child regression or inner child therapy, and we were just kind of, as I continued to, grow and heal through everything, as we as human beings do, I was working on some inner child stuff, and just out of the blue, this memory unlocked, and it had nothing to do with what we were working on or doing. Ultimately, I believe it was an aspect of myself, possibly my inner child or something, that brought the memory to me. And it was at the time that I was in NORAD. I saw beaming technology when I was in NORAD. I saw interstellar craft. I saw a body of a 6-foot-tall deceased gray. And at the end of all of it, they put me in a room, and they made me sit in there for like 40 minutes, and somebody walks into the room, sits down at the other end of the table, and basically says, well, now that you know, stop digging. Like, now that I know what? I was still convinced that they were probably going to kill me by this point in the exercise there in NORAD, and that they'd show me all this stuff and I was going to die. Then he starts to proceed to name off my adopted parents, where they live, my biological mom and family that I'd been recently connected with, where they live. And I'm like, are you threatening my people? What's happening here? I'm completely confused about what's going on. And then the next thing I had remembered, was just coming to in the apartment complex at my girlfriend's house at 8 o'clock at night, my ex-girlfriend's house at 8 o'clock at night. And very confused, kind of just wrote it off. I wasn't really sure. It hadn't unlocked, and blah, 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 blah. Well, sitting there in 2012 in a session with a friend, doing inner child work, I'm immediately transported back to sitting in that chair. And let me tell you, that was one of the most terrifying moments of my life. I was terrified of this individual, absolutely terrified to the point that I went for like 9 years without a credit card, a checking account, a cell phone. It's still early in the cell phone era. But I was untrackable, and I just went from town to town, stayed very under the radar, and did remodel projects for people, and just stayed off the radar. I was terrified of this unseen, unknown drive. And so I'm transported back to this place of terror, and I'm sitting there, it's in the same place, and I'm looking straight ahead. And the same man that had been the object of my terror and subconsciously for a very long time is now standing on the right side of me. And he's leaned down. He's got his left hand on my right shoulder, and he's leaning in to where, like, he knows I can't move my eyes or my head or anything, so I'm staring straight ahead. And he's leaning in so I can see a portion of his face, and I can hear him. And he's really, really close. And he says, "You are in danger. You have to stop digging. You must run. You must stay off the radar." And I just had this overwhelm, because the very next thing he said completely stumped me. He said, "I'm your father. I've always known where you've been. I will always know where you are, and I'll protect you as long as I can. But you have to stop." And I told you what the effect was. I just was terrified and constantly on the run. And that stopped when I took landmark education. There was some kind of deprogramming that happened in there for me. I went through this thing and I realized, what? These programs, landmark forum, landmark whatever. And I was like, I'm not letting anybody stop me. I'm not letting anybody get in my way. And whatever subconscious program was there was gone. But I still had no memory. It wasn't the first thing on my mind. It wasn't a constant daily thing. I'm trying to forget about this horrific thing that happens. No. When stuff is traumatic and it happens to you, it's real easy to just box that up, put it in a corner and leave it there for a long time. Super easy. Human beings do not want to be uncomfortable. We'll just take something that doesn't feel good and shove it down real deep.
Did you start learning about the people involved after you met your biological father? Did you start learning about the craft that we have, the technology? What was that like? When did you start learning about that?
I actually didn't start to learn about that until, after my stroke, I ended up coming back, and I started to say in the first segment where I could locate myself in space and time, and I wasn't the only one in here. And I came to understand it was a walk-in, a very special circumstance for which they sent another consciousness in the same body back with me. And the object of that, why they were doing that was to help accelerate the healing of my body. They had said that the timeline was important to keep and that my mission needed to stay on time. And I couldn't deal with the potential years and years and years of impact of that. So the accelerated healing that happened was due to everything that I mentioned, including this energy, this soul, this presence of this other being that amplified my my physical, my emotional, my etheric bodies, my quantum bodies, and accelerated me so that I started to be approached by different groups to help them do certain things. And to be quite honest with you, the knowledge about the secret space program and my experience in it actually is the memories that I've been dealing with since 2014 when I listened to Corey Good's talk, because I did a 20 and back.
What's a 20 and back?
Yeah. As an empathic.
Okay, so were you part of the same program that went to Mars then?
No, absolutely not. I was assigned to a Pleiadian ship, actually, as sort of like a liaison, if you will, for lack of better terminology. And I helped with my telepathic ability in several situations. As a human representative, I could do things and go places and interact with certain beings that others couldn't. It was just, there's a lot of rules and stipulations to things. It's interesting because I'm not really sure who said this, but I'd heard recently, it very could have well been David Wilcock, because I just recently rented the Above Majestic documentary, and I found there to be a lot of really great information in there. And, he had mentioned that, I'm sorry, hang on for a second. I just had a complete failure of what I was going to say right there. So let me just redirect on to the topic. For some reason, that has just been completely zapped away.
That's okay.
I probably wasn't supposed to talk about it. So let's just rewind and move on.
They erased you. They erased you right there. Boom. Just like that.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, I had a hold in a spot and everything and blah, 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 and they said, nope. So what was the question again?
Well, just in regards to the technology and everything regarding the secret space program.
Technology. See, the deal with that is there are so many different space programs out there. So and we're talking about with regard to the secret space program with humanity. So there's a lot of technology. It's just leaps and bounds beyond what we could possibly imagine. And I was on ships where the ship was a ship. It's obviously physical, but it was when I asked what was driving it or operating it, I was informed that it was the ship itself. I said, excuse me, I don't understand that the ship itself had consciousness. I said, I really don't understand that. And so I have been on really hard, like metal, reverse-engineered things that our secret space program has done. I've been on other ships where the technology just blows your mind. It's just light years beyond what you could possibly even imagine. So with regard to my experience in it, in the secret space program, I saw many different things. I saw and heard of people that were on different asteroids in our own galaxy here. That asteroid belt that we have here, we have many bases there on these things, on Moon and different things like that, that some people were told that Earth wasn't viable any longer. They were taking it different times. They were taken at different. They were taken to different places: Mars, Venus, the rings of Saturn. And I already hear somebody say, "How in the world the rings of Saturn?" Didn't I mention about the light ships that had consciousness and stuff like that? Don't you think that they could have something that would hang out there we couldn't see? Absolutely. And so the technology is mind-blowing. I mean, there's anything from replicators to replicate food to ray guns. I mean, there's technology. Here's another thing that people will be very interested in hearing, and it's the beds that heal you, the things that you get into when you've been injured or are not feeling well. The technology for healing, for age regression, for amplifying. I come to understand that the human body is the most perfect vessel in which to manipulate, to code, to change, to make better here, to make stronger there, to make weaker there, to make weaker here. It is like the perfect avatar, for the lack of better explanation. So there's healing beds. There's this advanced technology of vessels. I mean, it's so vast. It's.
Where did you get to travel to on these vessels?
Andromeda. I was out in Andromeda for quite some time, and they did some. Initially, though, it was the Moon, and then transferred, I believe, onto a base on a major chunk of asteroid in the asteroid belt, and then we went deeper space, and we started to move our way through space. There were a lot of meetings, there was a lot of training, there was a lot of things that I was being prepared for, that I was trained. They did a lot to manipulate my ability. I had the beginnings of telepathy and clairvoyance, clairaudient, being able to move things and so on. And what they would do is work with me, have me access that, inject me with certain things that would advance that ability quite rapidly.
I see. So when you were learning this, were there other people around you? As we only got about 3 minutes here before we go to break at the bottom of the hour.
Other human beings?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because, Randy Kramer and I talk a lot, or did there for some time in the last several years. The last couple of years we lost touch a little bit, but when we were talking all the time and sharing memories and experiences about, being out and about, he was constantly around other human beings, whereas I had a tendency to be with groups of non-terrestrial beings. So I was constantly around mostly, ETs. But the thing about it is they're humanoid, so it's not like they're that much different looking. I wasn't necessarily hanging out with a bunch of strange-looking beings. I was told that there are 22 different types of beings. So there's the hominid being, one head, 2 arms, 2 legs type of a thing, or some sort of combination there of 2 heads, 2 arms. Something like that, but hominid, on 2, bipedal, just walking around on feet. And then there are a whole bunch of other types of beings that are out there, too, insectoid. Me personally, I came across a lot of beings that there are a representation of here on the planet. Cat beings, lyran beings. So bipedal hominoid beings, but they were cat too.
Cat beings, okay.
Yeah, they're called lyrans, Lyrans, and much taller than we are. Stature is a bit different, but very, very similar. All different types of beings that are out there. I particularly was on a lot of different missions in different. Like I stood and talked to people a lot. They put me in situations, not people, beings. They put me in situations where I would go in and I would interact because as a representation of the secret space or that human element, because not all of them had telepathy. They didn't have clairaudience, clairvoyancy. They wanted to be able to have a representative that could report back to them inside of a completely telepathic conversation.
Right. I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to go to break here. Sierra Neblina is our guest tonight. More talk of ET hybridization, secret space program, contact, coming up on Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have you with us. Reminder, if you have missed portions of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can join the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Head over to We Read the Night, pick up a great book from some of our great authors that we are sponsoring. You can also shop at the SOR Vault and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. Sierra Neblina is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We've been talking about the secret space program and her time up in space with the Pleiadians. Sierra, welcome back.
Thank you. Actually, I want to touch base a little bit on like some more recent things that I've been up to, like in 2012, after, coming back from that near-death experience and everything like that, there was, and I explained that there was a lot of high strangeness and everything, and it was like, it was as if my nighttime was a whole other world than my daytime. I had two lives going on. And for a while, there wasn't a knowledge of what I was doing at nighttime, and then just my daytime work, right? And then I started to remember, like, wait a minute. Well, actually, things started happening, and this one particular thing started to happen where I would start to get upset or worked up about something, and I would disappear and reappear, or disappear from one location and reappear in a different location. And I tuned in to this guide that I ended up having. This is more of an etheric type of a guide, and I was like asking, what's happening here? And the guide said, are you wanting to be aware of what your nighttime work is, what you're doing now? And I said, yeah, this would be great. And this is in 2011, late 2011 or so, coming into 2012. And I get ready to go to sleep, and I hear a tap tap, but it's this weird tap tap outside of the door of where I'm staying. I'm like, hello? And then all of a sudden, a couple of Andromedans appear in front of me, and it took me back a little bit. And they said, we are here to bring your conscious mind to what you've been doing in your dreamtime astral work. And I said, I'm sorry, what? He said, there was a request that you remember what you're doing at nighttime. Okay. And so they walked up to me, and they're very interesting looking, these particular Andromedan beings. What is the name of the woman that does the busts of the different galactic beings and what they look like? I don't remember her name, but I remember seeing a bust of an Andromeda. I hadn't really, given much thought about it, but just sort of like taller, lankier, not like gray looking like the Zetas, but that these particular beings I was speaking to didn't have hair. And they were bald and bigger-eyed, tall and lanky. You could tell they were human beings as soon as they appeared. They were wearing these medallions around their neck, and this one walked up to me and reached out, and so I reached kind of like towards this being, and whenever our tips, it's sort of like just the thumb, the first finger, the middle finger, and the ring finger touched. And this sharp pain happened and this bright light, and then I remembered all the stuff that I had been doing. And so I started talking about it on my radio program and talking about my nighttime work. Now, astral projection in the astral body, you can... And a lot of what I was doing for the super soldier program in the very beginning, like when I was being tested and so on. They were very interested in me because of my ability to astral project, taking your quantum body and your consciousness outside of your body and projecting it to other places is basically astral projection. And so I had been asked to serve on a team of people, and they needed a human representative to be able to start interceding in humanity's, the problem here of the how things have gone so wrong, and those reptilians and so on that have usurped, and some others that have usurped, the power and done some awful things here on the planet, just to start setting things right. And at the particular time, they explained it as containment. And I started to report on these meetings where I would go and show up, and there are these galactic beings and human representatives and so on, and they were being, at first it was like senators and things, and then it started being like world leaders. I was being brought into these meetings in 2012 where they were being told to release the information, to basically prepare humanity for disclosure, for being in open contact with, to being a galactic citizen, because in this Breakaway society, in the secret space program, which went back to, Nazi Germany, and there's lots of programs that you can go on to and listen to about the secret space program, the different things that are started to come out recently about it. So I won't go into too much detail, but there's a lot of history going back to where we believe the secret space program started, which was with Hitler. He lost World War II. He found Antarctica, got some technology, was approached by certain race of beings to give him technology, and was basically out and traveling back in the 40s, 30s, 40s, out in space. So that's when that kind of like that one branch started, out, given technology and so on, and started to go out into space and to go to these different places and these different things. And for why someone might ask, there's whole interstellar commerce. There's a whole other races and beings, very much like Star Trek. I really believe Gene Roddenberry was approached. He was contacted because it's eerie. And somebody's going to get me on this, and I just know they are, to compare what I've seen to some of the stuff that I've seen, through his movies, but they're very similar. They're not exact. It's not exactly the same, but it's a good concept, a conceptual idea. And so, the secret space program, there's many different pockets of it. There's like branches of this and branches of that and branches of this particular part of the military that decided they wanted to do this project and it ended up out there, or this particular project that ended up going. And there's like these stages from the 30s and 40s and 50s and so on, and 60s and so on. And as we've gone out further and interacted with these beings, there has been this whole other, that's where I refer back to Dr. Michael Sala, or Richard Dolan with the Breakaway Society, and Dr. Sola also speaks about this at length recently, about the secret space program. He's got a lot of really great information. Now, to have, and just because one particular person was out on a mission, it might not even look similar at all to what somebody else has done out there, is my whole point. It's just like there's still some programs that are running on such a tight budget. It's sort of like it's like whole other new societies have been planted and started in other areas, other planets, asteroids, other parts of this galaxy, parts of other galaxies. It's out there. They've been out there. They've been going for so long that it's, and they don't know about each other is the crazy thing. It's not necessarily the group from Mars necessarily knew about anybody else that had been going out doing things, mining rocks, having interstellar trade, doing all of these other things, and under such a tight grip of this totalitarian type of ruling, you know. And then at some point they decided, these Breakaway Society has decided to amass such wealth and such power as to that a lot of those guys don't even live on the planet anymore. You know, they've just sort of left. And we are where we are right now because people inside of the secret space program, the officers, the ones carrying out these things, the ones that have been out there and have come back, the ones that have gone there and come back and know that there's such a discrepancy between what they have out there and what we have here. And it's like this enslavement system that we've got here on this planet. And they're just keeping us as the worker bees to try and zap and to steal every good thing from the planet and to just use it up because they can go to another one. I don't care. They're going to leave us here in the dark. But these people have had it. They're not going to take it anymore. They're going to come forward. They're pressing the issue. They so much as went out and started getting others to come back when they found out enough. It's not just about this yes, this is very much a dimensionality, an interdimensionality, but there's a hierarchy, there's a ruling system, there is rules, there's universal law, and those that uphold them, and groups that, and we've been out there doing it so long and long enough that those groups now are saying, wait a minute, the people of your planet don't know that you're out here doing this? No. That's not right. And so some time ago, and when I was brought into this particular thing where I was asked to do this containment. So I participated in a bunch of different meetings. I witnessed world leaders, including Obama at the time, being warned, threatened, and all different kinds of things about that they are to start to prepare people to become intergalactic citizens, to understand that we're not the only ones, that we are the new kids on the block. And so after that happened, then I was asked to, with my ability, to hone in on a lifeline, a life cord, a person, their soul line. I was asked to then start going and tracking down some of these people in power that said they were going to do X, Y, and Z. And it's been a multitude of things, I can tell you, including the replacement of the Pope. Okay? That was an absolute move by the, I don't like to call it the Galactic Federation. There's many different alliances. You can call them all different kinds of things, but basically those there that said, no, this isn't right. We're going to start removing these folks. And so my job at nighttime was to zero in on someone because they have their psychics too, right? They have their enhanced people. They're trying to keep from being
remote
found.
Viewing and everything like that. I got a question for you in regards to what you were put through with this project. What was your official role in this? Did you have a base where you were stationed? Was there a headquarters for this at times not so secret space program?
Are you talking about back when I was 5, or are you talking about
No,
when I was?
When you were older.
No, No, it was just basically I was participating from where I was at the time, which was in Sedona, Arizona.
Okay.
So there wasn't being this particular group of beings that brought me in were galactic beings. This wasn't with the secret space program. This was an alliance of beings that came together and said, you know, there's free will. They're not supposed to violate universal law, one of the different things is they don't come in and violate what's happening here unless we say. And there's a lot of ways that the manipulators have gotten around free will by not informing, basically just withholding and keeping information away. How can you choose if you don't know? So, but now that they know out there, they're like, no, that's not right. Well, because we've been saying all these things and we la. So there's this eventual slow drip. So there wasn't a base or anything like that with regard to this. This was me being sought out by beings who knew what my ability are. And they asked me, because it was a volunteer. I didn't have to do this. They said, will you help us? Will you help track these people down? We have to have a human representative. We can't just go do it. And so what I would do is at nighttime, they would tell me who they are, and I would track them on planet, astrally, in my astral body. And I would chase them down and basically tag them. Is the best. I would let them know, and then I would hold basically this person in the physical body. They would be put into sort of in a, like, okay, so let me give you an example. So there was this one particular business dude up in Wall Street. Oh, this guy. So he needed to be grabbed, contained, basically withheld or into holding. And so I would astrally, so I'm almost like flying, okay, so I'm in my astral form, and I'm able to move in and out of and do things that most people can't do in their astral form. So I'm running around sort of like ghost-like. But this particular individual had an enhanced person and was trying to keep this person cloaked. And so I had the ability to get past that. And I was this close to him, and he gets a phone call, like, run. And I'm literally running, not running, but floating, following this guy. And then I'm able to I can move things. And so I was able to then push him up against the wall and hold him there for a second. And all I have to do is make contact, and immediately there's a ship above, immediately there's a beam of light, and they're gone. Okay, this is what I was doing in 2012. It was interesting because I talked a bit about, a little bit about this on the radio, not too much, about some of the nighttime work that I was doing. And there was a gentleman in one of the conferences, it was the first one that we had there, and it was like 350 people, and I talked a little bit about my experiences just with, the stroke, the healing after that, the hybridization thing, just touching base on a few things across my life. And he walked up to me, and I remember when he turned around, I smiled because I recognized him. And he walked up to me, and he threw his arms around me, and he just started sobbing. And I just held him for and then he took a step back, and he said, I wasn't sure if you were real. I didn't know if I was making this up, but I've been helping you at night. And I said, you have, haven't you? And it was doing this tracking down. And he was really wrecked about it because towards the end of this particular thing, and we're going into 2013 now, it moved from containment to reset. There was a couple of times that people, when they were tracked down, they weren't taken anywhere. They were reset. And what that means is they were broken down to their atomic level and sent back to source to start over again. And he had an experience with me that somebody had been reset, and he told it to me verbatim of exactly what had happened in one of this particular nighttime work, and that I hadn't actually told anybody. And he was very upset because, that was unnerving for him, you know, to be a part of that, and to come to the realization it wasn't just a dream. He was literally standing in front of somebody that he hadn't seen in the physical and was doing all this stuff and had an inkling to come, and as soon as he looked in my eyes, he just knew it was all right. It was all real. It was all right. You know, he was going to be all right.
We only have about 2 minutes here before we need to go to break at the top of the hour. Trip is asking, what about the people taken without their approval? The ones that go against their will?
Yes. So if you don't want them to be taking you, say you don't want them to be taking you. Say no. If you have a scary, bad experience, any one of you religious and at all, just call in the name of Christ and tell them to leave you alone. You have to, universal law, they have to. Now, there's been some people that I've talked to, especially recently, they've been having a hell of a time with the reptilians, and these guys, they just don't care. And I say if you can't get them to go away, if you can consciously be aware of being taken as it's happening, that's you have to just be able to tell them no. And
does no work?
Yes, absolutely. It's supposed to, especially now. There, as you know, I was informed that a lot of these. Well, first of all, how do I say this? Well, I started to say it, and they were like, "Nope, hang on, you just need to rewind on that one." So, you have all the say. This is free will. This is universal law. And if you say no, say no. And if you can't remember, and you're not waking up during the time, during the moment, but you're having the memories later, and get in contact with somebody like myself or anybody else that provides support, and learn the steps in which you need to wake it yourself or become conscious during these experiences and tell them no. And what you can do if it doesn't work. You know, if it doesn't work, Christ is one of the first and fastest things. If you are, say you're not Christian, say you're Buddhist, call him Buddha. Say, call him Krishna if you're Hindu. You know, whatever power you give to something, the thing about it is, though, honestly and truly, you are the one.
Sierra, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are through 2 hours on Spaced Out Radio. Hour 3 coming up. We'll get to abductions, ETs, species. Lots to fill in the next half hour. And then the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. We live in a world of mystery and uncertainty, which you guys know better than anyone. Sometimes you just need to be brought back down to earth for a while. One of the best ways to stay grounded is to help out with your fellow earthlings. And there's no more rewarding way to do that than to give through Chive Charities. Unlike many organizations, we don't necessarily aim to save the world, cure disease, or change the course of history. Our goal
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world. relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SR.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. Down in Reedsport, Oregon, KDUN AM 1030. WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia. In New Orleans, UPRN 107.7 FM, and in Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF, AM 1560. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What is it? Academathesia. Academathesia is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Check out our new look website at spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you. It's time for you to get some SOR swag at the SOR Vault. Yeah, we got some great clothing and options there for you. You can head on over to We Read the Night. We got some great books to offer. And the SOR Space Travelers Club is open for business. $5 a month gets you in. You can do that. And, of course, Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire is updated daily as well. For the final time tonight, we introduce Sierra Neblina. She is a super soldier. She is or has been part of the secret space program. Her experiences are none that many have ever experienced. And I'll tell you, this has been an eye-opening episode, Sierra. Very eye-opening.
Well, it's been great being here with you, Dave.
What kind of ET experiences were you dealing with?
You know, it's interesting to be in a room full of individuals who know your thoughts. Think about that just for a second. You're out in your day, and your normal human reaction to stuff. And imagine the whole room can hear what you're thinking or reacting to. It was a lot of, they had a lot of graciousness about my humanity. There's one thing that I didn't understand is that the way that the current power structure is and the current paradigm and the way that we're taught is very specifically designed to dumb us down and not have us be at our full potential. And the small-mindedness and just ignorance, it's just ignorance. It's not ignorance being that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so how am I supposed to not think that is the weirdest thing I ever saw? When I see something that so shatters the mind. I'll give you an example. Not everybody is the same height as we are. It's the same size as we are. I was in meetings where one particular being took up so much room, but then us smaller beings were at a level where, like these different level platforms. Imagine a giant kind of sort of space or giant circular room for which everybody can kind of see everybody, right? But you're not 6 foot or under. You're 30, 40, 50 feet big, and you're sitting there trying to have a conversation with beings that range. We're tiny. I'm 6'3". I often felt small being around the beings that I was around. And so coming into a space where it is so large in some way, but everybody that is different sizes can interact, it's blowing your mind just trying to figure that out, right? Like, imagine that kind of a space.
How many different species did you have interaction with?
Me, I'd say about 15 different kinds. There's, you know, did I just say 15? No, I meant a lot more than that. There are about 15 in our solar system. Me personally, I saw a lot of hominid-type beings, but there were others that were sort of like blobby, sort of gelatinous forms. There's others that were insectoid-like looking, insectoid. You know, the very common one is a mantid being. So basically a 6 or 7 foot tall giant praying mantis-like creature. There's a lot of different, I can just sort of flip them through my mind. A lot of them are, though, that I came across in the time, a lot of humanoid-like looking stuff, you know. So it wasn't too much of a stretch, but it's interesting.
Did you deal a lot with the Greys?
No. No, not since the 90s. Not very particularly fond of those little worker bees.
When you were dealing with everything from the Greys to the humanoids, what was the difference in the species? You mentioned that you didn't like dealing with the Greys with the worker bees, but yet the Pleiadians, you enjoyed your time with them.
Now, there are several different blue suns in the Pleiades quadrant, so there are multiple planets there. This is a misconception that some have. I think that most commonly, Barbara's work, you know, painted them out to blonde hair, blue eye, sort of Nordic-like beings. But I saw, there's other beings too. Oh yeah, I don't even know why my head was stuck on the human being-like ones. There is a planet of sentient dolphin-like beings of a planet in the Pleiades quadrant who communicate telepathically, and different kinds of noises, chirps, and very, very similar to what you got here, but more advanced. I had started to talk about that before we went on one of our breaks. There's the Lyran-type being, so it's like cat people, right? So like a higher consciousness evolution. I start to think, now wait a minute, if we got a cat person, we got a dolphin person, what other kind of, you know, beings are there out there? And then I was informed that there are a lot of higher sentient beings, and there's forms of that represented here on the planet. Cats, dolphins that I came across, whales. I'd heard about them, but I didn't come across them, like sort of like whale-like beings that are like higher sentient beings. Birds, there's the avians, the avian people. They're like bird people. It was interesting to see that there were a lot of beings out there with like different representations of it here on the planet. And then I was told that they were brought from their quadrant. I don't know if I touched base on the fact that I was told that Gaia is a living library, that all of the best forms of life out in the cosmos, out in other galaxies, the universe, different times like that, were brought here and seated on this planet. And that it's the living library or the Garden of Eden, or, so that there are representations here on the planet. Oh, there's plant people. I forgot to tell you about that, too. I'm telling you, there are all different kinds of higher forms with representations of it in some way here on the planet.
How many of these species that you have dealt with are actually visiting Earth or currently here now?
Pleiadians, Andromedans, Sirians, Avians, Lyrans are all here now. Reptilians, mantid beings, Sasquatch, or what you all refer to as Sasquatch. They were brought here as Earth Watchers. They are a form of extraterrestrial being. Right off the top of my head, like 10 to 15. So 15 is what I'm getting at. What that number was coming up before, that I've interacted or around, or basically on the planet or in our solar system at this moment, like present moment.
How do we see them? Where are they?
Starts with the into. Remember I told you that we had a veil. We have, not only are we taught in a very particular way to take us away from our pituitary gland, which helps us access a lot of our own gifts and abilities. I believe that every human being out there can access things, access gifts, abilities, and so on. But you've got to heal your DNA, you've got to heal your body, you've got to heal your mind. If you're drinking fluoride, you're using fluoride in anything, that's killing and calcifying your pituitary gland. You're moving away from what we were designed to be. We have purposeful things being put in our food and mandatory vaccines being given that are damaging our DNA, that are keeping us from accelerating. Human beings are supposed to be accelerating in their evolution right now. Telepathic, telekinetic, these types of things is supposed to be where we are right now, and that's being interfered with.
So you're saying that you can't have ET contact with a bad diet?
No. Starts with an intention. If you want to have contact, have the intention, hold that intention out there. Prepare yourself for it. I do know that it is, if you want visitations by the benevolent ones, you must invite them. And Don Daniels and several other people, he used to be have a show on my radio network called Becoming a Cosmic Citizen, Preparing for Contact. And there are different resources out there that you can go to, and it's about calming your mind and being open, because we have a veil. And so, yes, stop drinking and using fluoride altogether. Start cleaning up your body and your mind, and be able to see. So let me explain something. I was standing there once, And I didn't really get or understand until I started actually also going out with Don Daniels when I lived in Colorado. He would lead night watch, night viewing type things, and we would sit and meditate and prepare and clear our minds and make the invitation very specific. You don't just make the invitation to anything all. Benevolent, higher vibrational, those that are interested in the evolution of the positive and benevolent evolution of humanity, those are the types of beings you want to invite in. You're very cautious about what you're doing when you're doing this. Be intentional is more like it, is what I'm meaning to say. Be intentional about what you're inviting in. And I've been in groups where, for one reason or the other, we're standing there looking at an object and somebody right next to us can't see it, cannot see it. It's like a hard calcification. It's like a veil. It's an inability to see through what we have been told is real or not real.
So how do you know the difference?
How do you know the difference of what?
Between what's real and not real.
Start asking a lot of questions. Start looking for yourself. I'm a huge proponent for your own investigation and going in and seeing things and doing things for yourself. Take, for example, adopted into a very conservative family. This is off the cuff, but it falls in line with what I'm saying here. Go and find out yourself. I was thrown out of Bible school for saying that Mary Magdalene wasn't a whore. And how dare you talk about the bride of Christ that way, okay? We're talking about the divine mate to Christ. 13 got thrown out of Sunday school. Don't tell me what it was like a knowing. It was a don't you dare. And
shame on them.
2013, the Pope came out and said, "Oh, by the way, Mary Magdalene is not a whore." There were two stories combined in the Bible there. So I was so driven about this and the memories that I had or understanding or something like that of Mary Magdalene that I sought out Kathleen McGowan and us on the Starseed Radio hotline, Starseed hotline, went to the south of France, put together a very specific group of people to go and travel in the footsteps of Mary Magdalene. Let me tell you, you go talk to the priests in southern France, and they'll tell you that Mary Magdalene was real. They will tell you that after Christ was crucified, she showed up on their shores with 2 children and taught his gospel until the Catholic Church came and killed everybody that knew anything about it and stole the book that he wrote. So,
right.
Yeah. So go and track it down. Go find the evidence. Go dig it up. Go inform yourself. Grow. Learn.
What do the aliens want?
I'm sorry?
What do the aliens want?
What do they want? It's funny that we call them aliens, right? That terminology is so funny. Extraterrestrial, not from this planet, galactic brothers and sisters. There's so many different. The others, galactic beings. I guess we'd have to start to look at how do we get here? Where'd this all start from? I was informed that human beings, so that, okay, I asked him to, one of the very first things, what do you want? Why am I here? What in the world is going on? By the way, everything you're taught in school is wrong. So I said, what really happened then? So what's going on? What are we doing here? Why are you taking people? Why are there different groups watching over different groups? What's going on here? And then I was informed that the Earth is a lot older than what is taught. And we're starting to find that out now with our technologies getting a little bit better. We're starting to find 10,000, 20,000, 30,000-year-old stuff. We have the ability to be able to date back far enough to realize 4,000 years is not the planet. It's ridiculous. And that this planet has had life a lot of life on it. There's been a lot of different forms of life that have come and gone from the planet. We're also starting to see the evidence of that with our giant skeletons that we're starting to dig up everywhere, right? And they just can't keep it down now with the internet, the information, and so on. They just can't keep it squashed out. Where did those giant skeletons come from? What happened what happened with that? So I was informed that there have been other civilizations that have come and gone from here. They've come to Anthropos. They've become conscious. They've moved on, or that the planet was reset in one way or the other, that this has been the living library, that this has been being seeded from Get, that these other beings, extraterrestrials, aliens, what have you, have been putting life in many different forms and using it as a petri dish for a millennia, a long, 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 long time. Okay, so this last round of human beings had been started by the Anunnaki. They came in on one of their runs by the planet, and they decided they were going to come down and get gold. They didn't want to mine it themselves. They might as well cross their DNA with some Homo erectus, create some worker bees. There you go.
There you go.
Well, that violated what was the plan for the next, what was supposed to be going on at that time. Science
Go ahead.
Science is catching up. We're understanding that there were many different types of beings. It wasn't just Homo erectus here, like many types of human beings on the planet at the same time, way back in the early stages, around the Homo erectus time and so on, that we had very conscious beings here alongside the cavemen type people, And so when it was found out that they had done that, shame on you. Well, the representatives, the ones that have been seeing the planet, bringing life to it, doing different times, it's all planned out. There's like moments or periods of time you do X, Y, and Z. And that wasn't the plan for that, so that got violated. So the others piped up and said, listen, no. We want representation then down on the planet. And so there was an agreement, and then that's where they seeded from different genes, completely different people onto the planet. You don't get this kind of diversity on a planet in this short a period of time. It doesn't work that way.
Sierra, I do have to cut it off right there because we got to call it the night. I want to say thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. What a pleasure having you here.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for this.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Hung in here this whole time. Good on you.
Sierra Neblina, everybody. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
John Resig here, founder of Chive Charities. And just like you, we have a penchant for the uncommon, the overlooked, and the off-the-cuff. Chive Charities operates a bit differently than most organizations. We listen to our recipients to find out exactly what they need, and then we give it to them. We provide people with rare medical conditions, veterans, and first responders with grant items that will make a direct impact on that person's life. We don't just forget about our recipients when the van or the wheelchair has been delivered. Our recipients are part of our Chive Charities family for life. By becoming a donor with us, you could be a part of that family too. And our listeners of Spaced Out Radio know that thinking differently can be a very good thing. To get to know some of our recipients and to support Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and start making a real difference today.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have you with us. Reminder, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel. It is free. That's where we store our archives. YouTube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, has a plethora of features for you. We'd love it if you were wearing some SOR gear, so go shop in our Spaced Out Radio SOR Vault store. You can sign up for the SOR Space Travelers Club. It's just $5 a month. And, of course, we read the night. We got some great authors with some great books, including Varla Ventura and the Crypto Guru. Check them on out. And, of course, we have Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. Speaking of the news, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, sometimes the WTF. All the news can be found at spacedoutradio.com. You can click on any tab you want to find what you want to read. An Indiana restaurant owner has pledged to live in a tent on the roof of his establishment until his Cincinnati Bengals finally win a game. Jeff Lanham, owner of the Hog Rock Cafe in Milan, pledged before the Bengals face-off with the Arizona Cardinals that he would take to the roof of the eatery if the Bengals lost, and he was then obligated to keep his promise. Lanham's bad luck continued this week, where the Bengals lost to the Baltimore Ravens 23-17. They are now a perfect 0-6. He said he is hoping to be able to come down from the roof after the upcoming game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just start playing like a team. Get our starters back. The guys that are injured, get them back on the field, he says. You know, I think personally, if we get back, we win. Wildman Walker, who famously spent 61 days living on a billboard in 1991 waiting for the Bengals to win, visited Lanham on the roof Sunday. He brought a signed photo asking Lanham not to break his record. Lanham said, "I hope I don't." Oh, here's to the perfect season. It's very rare we get a perfect season in football. We need this. We, as fans of the great game of football, need this. Go Cincinnati. Come on. 10 more to go. We can do this. Here's a weird one out of the Netherlands. Authorities have launched a major investigation after an apparent family of 7 was discovered living in the basement of an isolated farm, alleging waiting for the end of time. Police say that someone reported that they were worried about the living conditions of people who were living in it in an enclosed space on a farm located just outside the town of Ruinerwald. Yeah, when police went to the home on the farm Monday, they discovered 6 adults aged 18 to 25 and a 58-year-old man who did not want to cooperate with the investigation and subsequently arrested. It's unclear what relationship exactly the 58-year-old held with the others, but some reports describe them as a family. All scenarios are open. Our research is in full swing, and we cannot share more information at this time, police said. The farm is located in Ruinerwold, a town in the northern Netherlands. It has about 4,000 residents, about 80 miles northeast of Amsterdam. The farm was on the outskirts of the village in an area known as Berguzen, where less than 200 people lived, according to a Dutch newspaper. Mayor Roger de Groot said in a short statement that the family is believed to have lived there for 9 years on the farm, and that authorities found a number of improvised rooms where a family lived a withdrawn life. He added, "Has never seen anything like it." Very, very strange that is happening in today's world. All right, moving on. As he stood amid the thick old growth forest in the coastal range of Oregon, David Weens was nervous. Before he trained to shoot his first barred owl, he had never fired a gun. He eyed the big female owl, her feathers stretched out, black, brown, and white, perched on a branch, and just at the right distance. Then he squeezed the trigger, and the owl fell to the forest floor, its carcass adding to a running tally of more than 2,400 barred owls killed so far in a controversial experiment by the U.S. government to test whether the northern spotted owl's rapid decline in the Pacific Northwest can be stopped by killing its aggressive East Coast cousin. Weens is the son of a well-known ornithologist and grew up fascinated by birds, and he is a graduate research in owl interactions, helped lay the groundwork for this tense moment. It's a little distasteful, I think, he says, to go out killing owls to save another owl species, says Weens, who is a biologist who still views shooting each animal as gut-wrenching. Nonetheless, I also feel from a conversation and a conservation standpoint, our back was up against the wall. We knew the barred owls were outcompeting spotted owls and their populations were going haywire. The federal government has been trying for decades to save the northern spotted owl, a native bird that sparked an intense battle over logging across Washington, Oregon, and California decades ago after the owl was listed as threatened under the Endangered Species Act in 1990, earning it a cover on the Time magazine. Federal officials halted logging on millions of acres of old-growth forest on federal lands to protect the bird's habitat, but the bird's population continues to decline. All right, moving on. A researcher at the University of South Florida is working to determine if newly discovered bones from a museum on an island in the Pacific belong to Amelia Earhart, the famed aviator who vanished after a plane crash in 1937. 3 years after Earhart disappeared. Bones were discovered on the Pacific island of Nukumaroro, 1,200 miles from the Marshall Islands, in the area where they think she may have had an emergency landing. Dr. Aaron Kimmerell says, yeah, the bones were examined, but adding to the mystery, vanished while in Fiji. Kimmerell was contacted recently by National Geographic after reports that the missing bones may have been found in a museum and cultural center on the island of Tarawa, Kiribati. National Geographic wants Kimmerell to determine if the bones could be the ones that vanished so many years ago. They had 4 or 5 large boxes of remains that were commingled, she said. The skulls that were there was one set of female remains that matched the description. The bone fragments were sent for DNA testing to see if they match any of Earhart's relatives, the report said. She has a living niece. Earhart, who was attempting to fly around the world, disappeared with navigator Fred Noonan on July 2nd, 1937, during a flight from Papua New Guinea to Howland Island in the Pacific. The first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, Earhart was one of the most famous people in the world at the time of her disappearance. Thus, a number of theories have emerged about her fate. A North Carolina man says he plans to spend a night hunting for the fabled North American creature called Sasquatch because he found a footprint that seemed to be larger than a human could make. Electrician Joe Scarborough says that he was working near Khazar last week when he spotted what appeared to be a fresh footprint about 13 to 14 inches long. He said, I looked at it real close and I said, somebody's got a big foot. He says now he plans to spend the night in the area with some game cameras to see what happens, because why not? He says it's hard to believe in any sort of supernatural finding until you see it yourself. Now all he needs is some aliens to go along with that Bigfoot. Washington State man was charged with a felony assault after police said he attacked his roommate believing he acknowledged being a vampire. Kitsap Sun reported Monday that Kitsap County Court has charged 40-year-old Bremerton man after he was suspected of using a metal rod to nudge his roommate in the chest. The roommate told county deputies that the suspect accused him of being a vampire, threatened to kill him, and struck him with a metal rod. The roommate says he feared for his life because the suspect had a severe mental health issue and is physically larger. The suspect's brother told deputies, the roommate jokingly said, "Is that what the kids are calling me these days?" Authorities said the suspect believed the roommate acknowledged being a blood-sucking creature. Oh my goodness, vampires in Washington. Oh, I don't know about this one, but we're going there. A California man who allegedly broke into someone's home while dressed only in women's underwear. Yeah, women's underwear. Before fleeing the scene, has been taken into custody, investigators said. 37-year-old Sean McGuire was arrested this past weekend after the bizarre ordeal in El Dorado Hills. Family woke up in the middle of the night to find McGuire dressed in lingerie. No word if he had a garter belt on. The homeowner, Matthew Eshrich, told investigators he called out to the man, described as a transient, before hearing an exterior door open and slam close. Yeah, that's according to an El Dorado County Sheriff's Office press release. Around the same time, someone spotted a man running out of the open garage, wearing only his ginch. Eshrich says he ran upstairs, called 911, and around the same time got a call from his sister, who was quite perplexed. Oh my God, there is someone who just ran out of the garage, and he's just wearing a bra and panties, she said. Just like that, a bra and panties. Yeah, the homeowner said he thought, are you kidding me? Is this a dream? What the heck is going on? Well, thankfully for the El Dorado sheriff, they tweeted pictures of this pervert. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, looking like Victoria's Secret model without the wings. On Christmas time. Oh, he's an ugly man. I'm going to be honest with you. The broad panties do not suit him. The panties are like a burgundy, and the bra is like a teal green. He doesn't even know how to match his unmentionables. Anyways, authorities identified the scantily clad man as McGuire. He was taken into custody Saturday morning on several charges, including burglary, indecent exposure, and trespassing. Eshrich says he's ordered a security system with a camera and plans to adopt a dog for protection. And finally tonight, kind of a cute story. Get ready to go, Melanie McLean experienced severe seller's remorse after parting with the lamb she hand-reared on her farm. Ever sold a much-loved item and experienced that sharp pang of seller's remorse? If so, then spare a thought for the Scottish farmer. McLean, 50 years old, from the tiny village of Aird in the Outer Hebrides, sold her pet lamb Norman at a market in September, but was so racked with guilt after the sale, she embarked on a 16-hour, 540-mile round trip to bring him back home. I finally had a brain fart. Really? People use the term brain fart these days? And she goes, quote, I finally had a brain fart. Yeah, brain fart. And went in search of my pet lamb, Norman, after regretting selling him at the local sales last month with all my other lambs. She said this on her Facebook page. I traced them to a 75-acre field with 700 underlambs in Aberdeenshire. It was then that something truly magical happened. Within 30 seconds of entering the field, McLean spotted a Suffolk lamb wearing one of her ear tags. The crofter, who was previously a police officer, then put on her pink croft hat, and this wee lamb saw me and came running like a bullet, says McLean. Norman then happily followed McLean, who reared the lamb by hand after his mother rejected him at birth, back to the gate where her pickup and trailer were parked. I have to confess, I was in tears, McLean said in her post. I've reluctantly sold on several bottle-fed lambs before, but I really struggled letting Norman go. I can't explain it, but it is what it is, and he's now back in Aird to live out his life with us and keep our ram company. Yet that doesn't mean it's all been plain sailing. Norman, who was the smallest of a set of triplets when he was born in April, has now become so famous on his island home that McLean fears he's turning into something of a diva. She goes, I think the attention has gone to his head. The wee monster is getting too big for his boots. Norman is literally now climbing his walls. Down, Norman. Down. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Of course we do. That's what makes this so much fun. Come on, you can do it with me. All right, today's thought of the day is as follows. Have you ever had a MyLab or MK Ultra experience? What happened? Marty down in Vegas with a Vegas type answer. But we love Marty because he is a Vietnam veteran, and we love our veterans around here. Thank you for serving, Marty. We really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Marty says, the only Ultra experience I have encountered consisted of vast quantities of some magical liquid that rendered me temporarily in a different state of consciousness. And he posts a picture of a Michelob Ultra. Good for you, Marty. Good for you. Mike, not me, but a relative was part of those CIA experiments in Eastern Canada. Oh, my goodness. That's why the Eastern Canadians are so weird. Like the Toronto Maple Leafs as well. Ugh. Let's blame MK Ultra for that and the CBC. Chip, I've had a few Michelob Ultra experiences that rendered me useless due to a headache and nausea. Bruce, I find it important to discuss a few important issues about the MyLab experience itself. My understanding of a MyLab is genuine alien abductee who also remembers interaction with a military human element. Lone Wolf, never had a MyLab or an MK Ultra experience that I know of, but I used to work with a guy who swore up and down he had a micro GPS tracker in the back of his neck and that all of his neighbors were actually CIA operatives tasked with keeping tabs on his whereabouts. Oh, really? Really? Was Christoph way up in the sky in the bubble? Controlling the shots? They're here on Twitter. Says Stephen Greer has, but he resisted with happy thoughts, though, and defeated it. It's because he's so brave, Stephen Greer. Bert says, negative Ghost Rider. My pattern was full. Oh, that's smooth. That is very, very smooth. Let's head over to Facebook. Edith, I have no idea what it sounds like, but it sounds exciting. Oh, Edith, you don't want any of that. You're way too kind and nice for any of that. You don't want any MK Ultra or MyLabs. Debbie, from what I know, it's best not to have one or even talk about it. It's like the Fight It game. Flight. What? I can't speak on this one. Fight Club. You just don't talk about it. Fight Club. David Altman. Good dude. Very good dude. I may have had an MK Ultra experience, but I don't remember. Well, maybe you need a little bit of hypnotherapy there, old Davo. Kelly. I have not that I know of. I have watched The Men Who Stare at Goats. Does that count? No, that's about like remote viewing and stuff. No, this is abductees by the military, implanting them with false alien contact to eat your brains and suck your souls out. Everett, a doctor once said to me, "Get out of my lab." Does that count? Look, Ev, I know you're tired from hosting the Sunday show and that you have like 5 Gibson Les Pauls buried 118 feet in a crypt somewhere in your backyard. Okay? But there's no need for dad jokes here. No need for dad jokes. Bad, Everett. Bad. Can't handle that right now. Trying to be a serious journalist here. Trying to be a serious radio show. And you get a bad pun dad joke like that. Gee whiskers. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Everett just killed it there. Everett's on Sunday nights. Rich Giordano on Saturdays for the weekend crew. Damn good team. Damn good team. So make sure you check them on out. Big thanks to everybody taking part in today's Thought of the Day. We will do it all again tomorrow, as I will post a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Also, a big thank you to Captain Shirk for putting together a fantastic news lineup. You hit it out of the park again, Captain. I know you're listening in between your sessions with Rob Zombie on a UFO. Yes, we all love that song. And, of course, thank you to Sierra Neblina for coming on in, wooing it up with her major experiences with MyLabs, MK Ultra, the Secret Space Program. Yeah, we got to do that again. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on Revolution Radio, Spreaker, the SOR Space Travelers Club, LGAB, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, wherever you may be hiding, listening in as well. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a good night, everybody. We got Merle tomorrow night. Ghost of the Great White North. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Good night.